What's going on, guys? It's Kito, and today I'm going to be doing another episode of reworking Naruto-Arena's worst characters. And this episode is Kushimaru Kuriarare, reanimated. Enjoy.
I fuck your bitch, yeah. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. For it's like yeah, yeah, yeah. I get that money, yeah, yeah, yeah. You don't even like yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay, guys, so let's go ahead and continue forward. As always, slide 1 or 2 if you want to be technical. What's wrong with him? So I think pretty obviously, I'm pretty much going to say this for every character we fix. He doesn't feel like Kushimaru. He doesn't have anything about him that stands out or is unique enough to say this character is completely different from other characters because of. You can't even finish that sentence. And I think it's not my biggest goal, but it's one of my goals when I do fix characters, that I want to be able to answer the question, this character is unique in different ways than other characters because of. So I also think that he's got all offensive skills. And though he does have that, I think it's either 10 or 15 damage reduction for a single turn, I do not believe that that is adequate for a character. I think that a character always needs to have enough defense to be able to survive multiple turns. Not like survive in the way of live, survive and significantly reduce some incoming damage. Now, unless it's a concept that your character is completely offensive, that's different. But just for regular characters, when I design them, I typically have some offense, some defense, and just a good mixture of those two as a part of the concept. So that's what I try to do when I make my regular characters. Obviously, I've made characters that are a little bit more creative or complex, and the point of them was to not have any defense. So anyway, let's go to the fix. I'm sure you guys know the Kushimaru from naruto-arena.net and naruto-arena.com. So if you don't, I'm going to stick it on the screen really quick, pause it, read through it, and then continue with us at skill 1. Needle stitching. So it's going to deal 20 piercing damage to one enemy, and here's already the special unique part of the skill, the part in which I believe makes it feel like you're stitching opponents together, and I'll explain that in a second. But so it deals 20 piercing damage to one enemy and prevents them from using a new skill on Kushimaru for one turn. So this acts not only as a stun in terms of the enemy being able to use a skill on you, which they can't while they're affected by this, it also acts as an invuln for Kushimaru from any older skills that target may be using on you already. So it doesn't just apply to new skills, it applies to all skills that they are using or could potentially use, which they can't if they're affected by this. So I believe in terms of effects, it counts as an invuln. It's not considered really a stun. But it does seem like it is, because obviously the target cannot use a new skill on your opponent, but not because they can't use skills, but because Kushimaru becomes unavailable to have skills used on them by this character. Okay? So the following turn, If Kushimaru uses this skill on a different enemy, it will deal 5 additional damage and refresh this skill's secondary effect on the previous target or targets, which stacks. And the catch is, this skill may not be used on an enemy currently affected by it. Okay, so let me explain this. You use it on somebody, and then you can't use it on them again. So you have to sort of switch to their teammates now. But every time you do, it's going to deal 5 more damage, so up to 30. And if you so let's say you have it used on one person, and then you're going to switch to the second target, you use it on them. The effect of them not being able to use a new skill on Kushimaru is refreshed. So if you were to have all 3 in a row, the previous 2 would, again, once you use the skill on the third target in a row, would have the secondary effect of not being able to use a skill on Kushimaru refreshed. So let me tell you how this feels like stitching people together. Basically, the enemy team sits back and watches as one by one, Kushimaru slowly makes the options your opponent has for dealing with Kushimaru unavailable. So it's just like the anime where he goes one by one, sticks a sword through somebody, moves on to the next one, and then ties them all up. Slowly by slowly, the ninja around them are watching these ninja being stitched together, and slowly their options start running out. Just like how this skill operates in game. So I think that was a pretty beautiful way to do this. And it also, which is something that, many skills in Naruto-Arena type games don't do, which is it promotes using skills on more than one person that aren't AoE. Usually Naruto-Arena is all about, well, you want to use this spike on this character and not attack any other characters until you kill them. Well, with Kushimaru, unfortunately, or fortunately actually, because this will benefit him, even though it may not seem like a benefit right now, unfortunately he does not have the option to attack the same target with this skill at least, over and over. Well, with any skill, because he has cooldowns. So basically, Kushimaru does not attack the same target in a row with the same skill. So I think, and that also feels like his anime portrayal, because he doesn't just go for one person. He's stitching together multiple people. He's focusing on many targets. So I definitely wanted to include that as a part of his actual gameplay, which I believe feels like stitching, and it feels like Kushimaru. Skill 2, EViscerate. So this deals 20 piercing damage for 2 random to all enemies. Enemies affected by needle stitching or wire crucifixion have the duration of their non-damage effects extended by 1 turn. So let's say you have all 3 enemies stitched together. If you use this skill on them, you have an additional turn that they can't use a skill on Kushimaru. Now, kind of a double-edged sword, sure, because it's also an additional turn that Kushimaru can't use needle stitching on people. However, when we get to wire crucifixion, there is sort of a right way to do things. Now, you don't have to do it that way. You don't have to use wire crucifixion before EViscerate. But I think that is the most effective way. However, you can use EViscerate before wire crucifixion anytime, because it is 20 piercing damage. Cooldown's pretty big, but that's definitely on purpose. So, skill 3. Wire Crucifixion. So, this skill's a little interesting with its cost. So, it costs 1 random for every enemy currently affected by needle stitching. So, for every target that is stitched together, this skill costs an extra random. So, up to 3 random. So it deals 15 damage to all enemies, makes them unable to reduce damage or become invulnerable for 1 turn, and also fully stuns them for 1 turn. And obviously it requires needle stitching to be on the target. So this is the big combo. You stitch every enemy together so they can't hit you. You use wire crucifixion. So even though your needle stitching kind of invuln has wore off after you use wire crucifixion, it doesn't matter because now they're stunned, right? After they're stunned, you use EViscerate and you increase the duration of the stun by another turn. So at least for Kuriarare, he can completely shut himself off from damage, unless somebody has bypassing, of course, for many turns. If he is effectively and just capable of actually using his skills on multiple targets. And by skills, I mostly mean needle stitching, because needle stitching is how you set it up. So if he's capable and effectively making good use of his chakra and his turns, he's practically invincible until your opponent loses some people. If the more people your opponent has, the more dangerous he is, because the more turns he gets to be invulnerable, basically. So that's kind of how this character works, how he operates. And personally, I just think it's not only a lot more unique, a lot more complex, while still remaining simple, to be fair. It's just a lot more of an actual cohesive, thought out design. Now, to be fair, the Naruto-Arena Kushimaru is not a terrible design by any means. It just could definitely have reflected the character better. And specifically with this guy, at least, because he did have an okay moveset, because his moveset did have flow, did have it worked. It's not bad. I can't say it's a terrible design. I can't even say he's one of Naruto-Arena's worst characters, but he is a character that is old that I've reworked, so he still will apply to this series. Regardless if he's not one of the worst, he still is an older character that has been reworked, and I want to showcase these characters that I've been reworking. So, you know, with him in specific, and he has a normal invuln, of course, so with him in specific, I just set out to give him more personality and make him and his gameplay match what we see in the anime and be able to reflect that. Maybe you got to think about it a little bit to be able to see that it does match his anime portrayal, but I think my explanations hopefully have done a good job of showing that yes, it does showcase pretty much exactly how he worked in the anime, just translated into Naruto-Arena speak, Naruto-Arena function mechanics. So this is our character. I hope you like it. Let me know your feedback, guys. I want to know if you even like this series at all. You want me to do more videos like this? You want me to just go back to playing NA? What do you want to see from me? Please let me know. So, anyway, it's been Keto. Peace. Bye. And don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe. Thank you. Peace.
Like Chippy, what you doing? What you thinking? Turned up on the weekend. Bitches geeking.